15% of a person's success and earning capacity is dependent on their technological expertise. 85% is based on their human expertise. Hey, it's Scott Beebe with the Business on Purpose platform, here liberating you, small business owners, from the chaos of working in your business. Recently, I heard that stat, actually listening to the classic book, it's the Audible version, How to Win Friends and Influence People, the old Dale Carnegie from the 1930s, classic book. If you've never read it or listened to it, you've got to get it on your playlist, or you've got to get it in your library. It goes through so many just pragmatic, real practical things from a leadership standpoint that we as small business owners need to be embracing, delivering every single day. Well, I just got done sharing that quote with a couple of heroic small business owners today as we were going through our client meetings. Because where a couple of these business owners are at is they're moving to the next level in their leadership in their small business. So a lot of them have mastered the technical aspect of the business in terms of turning them into systems and processes that are replicable. And they repeat those in training over and over and over again in their weekly team meetings. We talk about that a lot, obviously, in the 4 Steps to Business Freedom program with our small business owners, and of course in our one-on-one times as well. Well, they get to a level and a stage where the business is kind of operating. Doesn't mean that fires don't need to be put out. It doesn't mean that all is perfect, but it does mean that there's a lot going really, really well, and the business owner has margin. But what ends up happening when heroic small business owners get margin is it can either go really good or it can go atrociously bad. What do I mean by that? Well, marginal time is what leads people to get in their own head. Marginal time and money is what leads people to not only get in their own head, but begin to spend on things and over leverage on things that, quite frankly, if they didn't have the marginal time, they wouldn't think about in the first place. It's why so many people, when they have more and more money, get into more and more trouble. And so you, as a heroic small business owner, wherever you're at right now, you need to go ahead and make a decision. What am I going to do with my marginal time? If you want to double down on the investment that you've made into your business, leveraging the marginal time that you've had, then you can listen to the wisdom that was distilled in that study that Dale Carnegie talked about in the intro of the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and really hear what he's saying. 15% of a person's, let's just call it success, is dependent on their technical capability. How well can you dribble a basketball? How well can you design an engineering project? How well can you type in data entry details into a piece of software? That's technical capabilities. But 85%, and by the way, they were studying engineers, lest you think, well, what about technical professions? This statistic actually came out of the technical profession. And so more appropriately, 15% of an engineer's success, only 15% is based on their technical competency. 85% is based on their human competency. How can they have conversation back and forth? How can they interact with team members? How can they read the dynamics of the room? And so, heroic small business owners, as you build out the vision, mission, value, systems, processes, team meetings, weekly schedules, org charts, job roles, etc., as you build those things out, you're going to hit a margin. Now, some of you are thinking, oh my gosh, Scott, bring the margin on. Well, no, I'm serious. You're going to hit a margin, and when you hit that margin, you better be ready. When you hit that margin, you better be ready. And what you better be ready with is to build the human capacity of the team. Not only yourself, you've got to be building that. And as one small business owner put it this morning, I've realized that I've got to stay out ahead of my team. Yes, you've got to stay out ahead of your team, but you've got to be building that capacity within your team as you're reading books, listening to podcasts, growing yourself, going to trainings, going to conferences, learning real world issues. You've got to have moments where you're sharing that with your team. But it's kind of worthless to share anything with your team if you don't know where you're going. That's why everything starts with vision. mybusinessonpurpose.com/vision. Go there, be encouraged, have training time in your weekly team meeting, and begin to teach wisdom. Invest wisdom into your team. As you're reading a book, take a sentence from that book, take a nugget from that book, that podcast, and go share it with your team so they can begin to grow. And when you do, growth will begin to happen because they'll start to embed it, realize the investment that you're making into their world, and you will begin to grow, and they'll start to realize that 85% based on the human connection is actually really true. And the passion for the technical capabilities will grow alongside that, because the more they connect, unite with human beings, the more technically proficient they're going to want to be. We'll see you next time right on the podcast.